All right, go ahead.
Welcome back to another Star Wars review. This is Matt.
And I'm Ryan, and to my left is Matt. And today we'll be discussing Star Wars Episode
7, The Force Awakens.
or as you like to put it, The Force Sleeps.
Is this the Whose Line Is It Anyway? sound like the ball. I forgot.
Anyway, we're trying to make Episode 7 a little bit more entertaining.
So, map to Luke. Where's Luke?
Why is there a map? And who left the map? Who cares?
That's such a good point. Why is there a map?
Why is there a map to Luke?
I thought he was in exile. Like
If he
cast
exiled
himself
himself, he cast himself out. He didn't want to be found. He left a way for him to be found. And
Resistance is
then
trying to find the map to get back
there's
to him.
now a resistance and a first order,
Yeah.
and it's
So
the
Empire
new
and
Empire and
Rebels.
the new Republic
Rebels.
and that's pretty much it. The stormtroopers look like stormtroopers,
Yeah.
and the rebels look like rebels. There's no difference in change or of scenery, anything like that. That's one of the main issues is that they basically rebooted Episode 4.
Yeah.
And that's it.
This is a remaster.
It's a remastered version. What would Episode 4 look like had it been made in the 2000s?
Yeah.
And that's it. The TIE fighters look like TIE fighters. The X-Wings look like X-Wings.
Yeah, nothing looks like it progressed like going from the prequels.
If you were to
the
take,
sequels. Or to the originals.
that's a good point, even though you weren't trying to make it, is that the prequel ships look distinctly different than the original trilogy ships. And if you were to take a silhouette of those, you could identify, oh, that's prequel era, or oh, that's original trilogy era. If you were to take a silhouette of the sequel trilogy versus the original trilogy, it would be very, very difficult to decipher which one you're looking at just by a silhouette. I think the sequel trilogy, again, it's the same thing. It did a better job of realizing these ships. The TIE fighters had a rear view cockpit
And a red line going down.
Well, the red stripe doesn't matter.
It's different than what they were. It
was also white on the wings, to make it look distinctly different, even though it really wasn't. It's the same design. It's nothing new. Kylo's ship was new and interesting, but that's not in this movie. And the triangle looking TIE fighter from Episode 9 looks distinctly different, but that they didn't have that idea until Episode 9. So if they had those two in this one, it'd be like, oh, okay, I see a progression.
Like you said before, that they were trying to play it safe because they were.
That was a big issue. I'd heard that Bob Iger was saying, hey, how do we capitalize on the nostalgia and bring folks back in, because they were so definitely worried that people hated the prequel trilogy so much that they wouldn't give Disney Star Wars a chance.
Yeah.
So it was a safe move. It was a good move for the time because it made a lot of money, but it was a bad move, in the long scheme of things, because it ultimately hurt their trilogy in the end. Nothing was new, nothing was different. It was a carbon copy of everything.
Yeah.
So Episode 7 really brought you nothing new. It didn't explore a different type of story or anything. It just said, hey, let's just give you the same thing that you've seen before. That's it. So not very fun. So anyway, getting into the film, the Resistance land on this planet, find this old guy. The old guy happens to have a map to Luke. He gives it to this guy, Poe Dameron. Then instead of fleeing the scene, he puts himself and his ship in danger and the map in danger.
I thought they were already shooting at him. They saw him and he had to hurry up and act quick.
I don't recall. Well, in any case, it looked like he turned around. He was like he had already made the decision to hand himself over to the First Order, and he sent BB-8 off. And the cool parts of that little scene right there setting up was, number one, Kylo Ren stopping his laser bolt.
Yeah, that was cool.
Number two, Finn and Kylo Ren having a moment. It was kind of weird, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then that was it. There was a little bit of a fun exchange there between Kylo and Poe, but that was mainly just to establish Poe as really charismatic and cool and all that, which he was. But then that downgraded a little bit of Kylo, because Poe probably wouldn't have talked that way to Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And Vader wouldn't have taken it that way. Just the way that he entered Episode 4, you know, he's a no nonsense kind of character, whereas Kylo will accept the nonsense.
Yeah.
So then after that, you know, BB-8 escapes. There's some weird alien in the scene as well. It's kind of, you know, just sort of background alien, just to give you a little Star Wars, you know, feel. And then they're off.
Been defective. He starts defecting after they say kill the villagers.
Right. So, like I said, that was a cool and interesting story. Yeah. And it ended right there. You know,
because he regressed in episode 8, like you said, and then
right.
episode 9, what?
Episode 9, he met other people that were just like him.
So
and
that lost his value, is what you're trying to say?
Yeah, it wasn't that they said, hey, you know what, we heard what you did, and because of you, we're not, you know, we defected as well.
Yeah.
It was, hey, we did it too, and you're nothing special. But now you have the Force, so
you're a little bit special.
You're special in a different way. But anyway, so episode 7, just it gave us a cool kind of like, you know, kind of story, and then it brought in that little, you know, that great camaraderie with Poe and Finn.
Yeah,
and
right off the bat.
That was the best.
Yeah.
You know, best friend kind of scene or whatever, you know, that we had, and unfortunately, that's the last one. That we had, you know, no other character since had that, you know, that great rapport, back and forth. Yeah, so they both crash land on the planet in the TIE Fighter. The TIE Fighter scene was cool. It was fun and energetic.
Like, where did Poe go?
Right, Poe ejected somehow, and then not only did he eject, he somehow managed to get back to the Resistance.
Yeah,
and no explanation. No, who you know, it's just sort of like. That one scene in Return of the Jedi where Luke came out of nowhere, like, you know, count me in, and like, whoa, where did you come from? But we had a little bit more backstory with Luke as far as we knew where he was. With Poe, we had no idea, so it was a little bit of a difference there. But it was a narrative.
Everything happened. Just there was a lot of things that happened but weren't explained in the film.
Well, no,
like, or
that's
like,
one of the things
I don't know how I did that. I don't know how I got here. Like,
yeah. I'm amazing for some reason, and they would make a point
of
it.
With Rey, Poe, Han. It's like,
it's like, how did you do that? I don't know.
How did you find the Falcon?
But magically, I
don't know what he said.
It occurred. And now we can progress with the story, which really wasn't much of a story.
Yeah, there wasn't progressing. It was just unanswered questions. Where'd you get the lightsaber? That's a story.
Oh yeah. A story for another time. And
how did you fly that? I don't know.
Yeah, how do you know how to fly this piece of junk? You know, how are you so intimately involved with knowing how, you know, the intricacies of the Millennium Falcon?
Too coincidental.
And the Millennium Falcon, in my opinion, even though it's great nostalgia and all that, you know, and yes, it should have had the same treatment as it did in the prequels, where you saw it on a spaceport and that was it. I mean, there were 3 of them on a spaceport. Yeah, it was an Easter egg, and that's the way it should have been. They should have seen it like that's a piece of junk. You saw it for that, you know, that split second, and then you're off to another ship, a new ship that we can get, you know, to know, to learn, to love, and all that. Millennium Falcon was amazing. It was a centerpiece of all 3 of these movies.
It's amazing how it's still efficient even in the future.
It was actually equal to or more efficient than the
it seemed pretty equal.
Yeah, I mean, it's an older freighter. I mean, it was a hunk of junk back in episode 4, and in episode 7, it should be even worse than a hunk of junk.
Trash.
It's just trash. It should not work. It should just be, you know, in a museum. You know,
the new technology.
Yeah, the newer, you know, Corellian freighters or whatever that's available. That should be totally what you would use. Like, what's the step up from there? No, I'm sorry. We're going to use this old Model T, and we're going to, you know, outrun the Ford and Ferraris.
All right, Skywalker saber calls out to Rey Palpatine.
Rey Palpatine. So in episode 7, we of course don't know she's a Palpatine, and in episode 7, when they were filming it, they didn't know she was a Palpatine either. So that scene made 0 sense. It's just,
it's
you know,
like
why would you call out to the offspring of the Force user that like destroyed the galaxy and deceived the wielder of the original wielder of the lightsaber? It didn't make any sense.
There's a stupid way of explaining it, but I don't want to see it that way. It's like,
I'm not down for mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to try to piece it together and make sense of it when it didn't make sense to begin with. So
Well, yeah, because it's showing a lot of Skywalker.
it showed
history. There's nothing
Skywalker
Palpatine
images.
about
It showed.
I mean, like there's Palpatine doing.
Palpatine
like,
wasn't
this is what he-
involved in
just, I don't know.
Bespin. Palpatine wasn't involved in any of that. And then you had Obi-Wan voice reach out to her. And I don't think that.
I mean, Palpatine was involved with Bespin. He told Vader he needs to go to him, and Vader's like,
yeah, but
join us
he
and
wasn't.
die.
He wasn't. His presence wasn't there.
His presence wasn't there, but his endorsement was. Like,
Okay,
for
so I'm
that.
sorry. Stop with your mental gymnastics. I'm not following you down that path. That's
I'm
the
just
path
saying
to
that that's what
that's
people
the path to
could
the
say.
morons.
I don't care. That's
and we're
what
not
people
going that
could
way.
say.
Next.
I like thinking what people could say. not
Anyway,
what they-
so
not what they
so
say.
Finn got the lightsaber and he started to use it. He met up with a trooper that recognized him outside of his outfit and was like, "Traitor!" I'm like, "How the hell? You don't take off. You're not supposed to take off your helmet. How do you know this dude was a defector?"
Finn was a janitor, right?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No, and you're trying to tell me that in the whole of the First Order, they know each other.
They probably briefed them. You never.
Okay, from the shot that has all of the stormtroopers on the planet, the Starkiller base, all of them, you're trying to tell me that all of them intimately know each other, and if they were to take off their helmets, they would recognize them without any issue. No, that's sorry. Another mental gymnastic. You're going to have to stop because you're going to get overexerted. So, no, with him not wearing his stormtrooper outfit, there's no way for this dude to come out.
I feel like there's a briefing. Like this is what we're
don't be an
after. This
idiot.
is where we're going.
So
Let's go.
number two, he's the only one with this like stupid, idiotic weapon that it was like, well, what do you use to fight against a lightsaber? I don't know. Come up with something, and they're like, okay, we'll just use this nightstick thing.
Well,
and I was like,
isn't that
that's
from-
dumb. You've
from-
never
Isn't that concept from like
concept from Ralph McQuarrie, but the thing is that stormtroopers don't normally carry that. If they had a battalion,
it's different now. Because getting ready for
this is
Well,
stupid.
no.
You're drinking Kool-Aid.
Well, no, because
where's the Kool-Aid that you're drinking?
Well, no, it would make sense on why. Like,
Okay,
this
where are the other troopers? Why was he the only trooper that had it? See, again, please.
Well, yeah, there's
calm
coincidental
down.
things. That's
No,
all. That's what the big problem with this film is. There's too many
Yes, okay,
coincidental
if you're
things.
trying to bring that up to show a problem, then I'm okay with it. If you're trying to show bring that up to sort
Well,
of
I'm saying,
justify
I'm saying
things,
the
then I
idea
don't
is
think
cool,
that's
but I'm
okay.
just saying like it's too coincidental for there only
It's
being
cool,
one.
but yes, exactly. I was like, if there's a whole battalion that
But
has
I mean, that they eliminated
that'd
the
be
whole Jedi Temple, so it just doesn't make sense to have it right now. And then him having a lightsaber, and I don't know. Then yeah, it's just weird, and how they knew there was going to be a lightsaber, so he brought it. That's weird. I'll say that. That's weird.
Okay, good.
It shouldn't have been there.
Thanks a lot. All right, moving on.
Shut up.
So, anyway, so they have this fight and whatever, and the fight itself is interesting. It's cool, whatever. You know, Finn doesn't really know how to handle himself. You know, it's fine.
So he did the trooper did a lot better than Phasma.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, Captain Phasma. I don't know if you want to go ahead and talk about her.
I will wait.
Okay, we'll wait
I
on.
want to go in order.
There's an order. Okay, well, anyway, if there's an
We're trying
order,
our
then
best to go in order.
So then, in that case, backtrack. We jumped ahead then in the movie. So we got being on Maz Kanata's planet. They haven't met Han and Chewie.
Oh yeah. But we talked
Okay.
about it, finding the ship.
They found the ship before the First Order. And it was just too coincidental. It just happened to be like in the area.
It was really soon.
And yeah, it was like it was like oh no, we're captured, and it happened to be Han and Chewie, and just a very
And Han back to doing
I don't like the
scoundrel
introduction.
things.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That was a problem with the way they handled the original trilogy characters. So you have Leia, Luke, and Han. Han reverted to being a smuggler again. Luke reverted to being a coward that had no faith in anything. And then Carrie, they mistreated her. Like all the new characters knew of Han and Luke, but no one's, and they spoke very highly of Han and Luke. Until you saw Han and Luke and where they were. No one ever spoke highly of Princess Leia. Like, oh my God, you're Princess Leia? Yeah. You mean you're General Leia from the Endor fight or whatever? I was like, no, they never had any of that. They were just like, oh, here she is, and everybody respected her, but they never were in awe of her. I don't know. It wasn't the same treatment. So I was like, wow.
Well, I mean, because she's been in the same position, everybody else has been away.
Yeah. And that's so sad for her character.
Yeah.
Like your character is from birth till death is just going to be fighting.
Hell yeah.
That sucks. I'm sorry, man. That's a horrible life. What a horrible thing. And then her whole thing, which has nothing to do with episode 7, but the whole thing about her giving up, training to be a Jedi because she's trying to protect her son, but at the end of the day, she couldn't protect her son. So ultimately she should have just stayed with Luke and been a full-fledged Jedi. She could have protected Ben a lot better as a Jedi versus giving it up and then letting Snoke or Palpatine go through and manipulate her son and destroy her marriage and whatever it is. But anyway, so I digress. Let's continue on with they entered the Maz Kanata's cantina scene. They had a cantina scene, just like A New Hope. Someone there alerted the First Order, just like someone on Tatooine recognized the droids and alerted the Empire.
Yeah.
It's too many story beats where almost carbon copy exactly the same. Everybody knows this, but it's just you can't talk about it without saying these things are noticeable.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. They stayed safe and they stuck with they copied the formula from episode 4, and then in episode 8 they wanted to make bold moves and kill Snoke.
Yeah. Well, they made their bold moves and
they played safe and then they did stupid. That's what they did.
Right. Well, it would have been okay for them to go off the range and try something new, try something different. But again, with episode 8, and you'll see in our episode 8 review, is that Rian Johnson did not refine his story enough.
Yeah.
If he had taken the time to reflect and say, hey, you know what? Okay, this doesn't make sense, so I'll have to make changes or whatever. But he put in things that was just sort of like that was his first draft, and he didn't give a second thought about it. He was like, okay, this is it, and this is what we're gonna do, and I'll let the next guy, Colin Trevorrow or J.J. Abrams, fix whatever story loops or story structure that they need to complete this trilogy. That's not my department. I'm gonna go and make Knives Out, which is another horrible movie. It was fun, but it was stupid. So anyway,
so what do you think about Maz Kanata's monologue to Rey about the Force?
About how it called out to her?
Just in general to talk about it. I know
the way she spoke to her, like she knew her or something.
Like she knew the Force.
Well, no, she admitted she's like
she's been alive for 1,000 years or whatever.
Yeah, she said she's not a Force user, but she's fully aware of the Force and how it works and all that. Which Maz Kanata again, it was okay, but just kind of quirky and that's fine. In episode 8, it was ridiculous that she was in there. In episode 9, it was okay. Anyway, I didn't have a problem with Maz, the character itself.
And what about I know you had an issue about this back in the day, Han using Chewie's blaster for the first time.
For the first time, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" It's like this is the first time you've ever used his blaster. It's like from Solo till episode 7, that whole time you've never ever picked up his blaster and used it. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. you target practice or just fun, just having fun. You're gonna use it, or in some situation you're gonna use it. I don't know. It's just silly. But again, I mean, it made for a cute little exchange, and that's fine.
Then what about the meeting room to destroy Starkiller Base?
To destroy Starkiller Base. Oh, when they said, this is the Death Star, and this is Starkiller Base. I'm like,
and then
it's bigger. Who cares?
Yeah, it's just bigger. And then Han's like, all right, where's the hole to shoot, like from Death Star?
Yeah,
or whatever. He said something about it.
It was, I don't know, that whole premise was,
but they were talking about it like, oh, it's no big deal. Like no one was freaking out.
Yeah,
it was just like,
there was no weight.
How do we do this again?
There was no weight to it. It was sort of like, and look how big this thing is.
It's another Death Star.
Yeah,
just bigger. Yeah, nothing crazy.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's the same thing with the TIE fighters, X-wings.
Went from the size of a moon to a planet, and it's still inefficient.
It's an upgrade, but yeah, it's like no matter how big it gets, it's still going to get destroyed in the end.
Sucks.
So, And it was stupid. They did the Alderaan thing where they destroyed 5 planets instead of 1. It's like, if you add more, if you add 4 more planets, it's gonna make it
Look
more
how powerful it is.
Yeah. Look, it's more powerful than the Death Star. I don't know. It was dumb. It was lazy writing, and in episode 9, with each Star Destroyer having that technology underneath, was again dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb. It was just dumb.
And Palpatine, come find me.
I'm alive. Like, my plan's almost over. I'm almost going to, fully realize, this whole thing that's lasted for 30 or 40 years. Come find me with the Wayfinder.
All that waiting and building up, like, I'm ready.
He should have waited till the day after.
So stupid.
Then he's like, okay, Kylo, I'm ready for you now. It was stupid. I don't know. This whole thing's dumb. All right, so
Kylo kills Han.
I thought, okay, so I knew everyone who's a Star Wars fan knew that Han Solo Harrison Ford had always wanted to kill Han Solo because he loves Indiana Jones more. And I knew what was going to happen. As soon as he put his foot on the catwalk, I was like, yeah, this is it. He's done. It's like you got a lightsaber right there, and Han Solo, is going to go up there. And when he did it, when he got stabbed in the abdomen with the blade, I thought that it was Han. I was like, oh, Han did this for his son because his son is struggling and all that. He's like, if you're not man enough to do it, I'll do it for you, and hopefully you'll see the error of your way or whatever. Or I'll take this from you so that you're not burdened with this or whatever. But no, that was not it.
He's a scoundrel. He can't do it.
He killed his dad, and then kicked him down the or didn't kick him. He fell.
He just fell.
Fell down the.
I'd kick you down.
Yeah. So interview over. No, and then he appeared back in episode 9, and it was the same exact dialogue almost. And so that's why I thought, I was like, maybe this is an alternate take from episode 7. He didn't really show up for episode 9. They just reused old footage, just like they did with Carrie Fisher. They just reused old footage from episode 7. Possible.
I think you're giving him too much creative points.
It's possible. So anyway, so they capture Rey, and then she all of a sudden learns how to use.
I'm confused on how, like, when they were on Mos Kanata's castle, how she went from afraid and like,
I don't want to use it. I don't ever want to see.
Yeah, and then all of a
saber.
Sudden she gets the Starkiller base, an even bigger base with every single bad guy, and all of a sudden she's angry and confident. Like, what?
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. It's like, you're out of your comfort zone now. There's no way in hell you should be comfortable and or able to even fight back. It's just,
sure.
I don't know.
Sure. So from the interrogation, okay, when Kylo Ren took off his helmet, that was the end of anything menacing.
He should have kept it on until Han told him to take it off. It would have been more powerful. I don't know why.
More powerful then.
Like, why would you want to reveal what you look like to Rey? It's like you want to stay looking like a monster. You want to stay whatever creature in a mask or whatever.
I don't know. It was just a bad decision. So then after that, he leaves, and they talk about the girl and all that to Snoke and Hux.
Oh
is
no!
there.
Another thing, he saw the island in her head.
Yeah, he saw the island. Yeah, he was like, I see it. But she'd never been there before.
Yeah. It just,
and why would that be in her mind?
The storyline's not making any sense. Well, the lightsaber's calling to her. She's seen the island.
Yeah, and that's how you know I'm sorry. That's how you definitively know that the story was meant to go a different way.
Yeah,
it was meant to go a different way. She was meant to have been on the island at some point in her life before.
I know, idiots are gonna be like, he was just seeing the future. Like, no. He was looking at her memories.
He was looking at her memories.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't tied to the Force yet. The Force was apparently awakening. So anyway, so then they leave and they're talking about her. She's in the room with the stormtrooper who's Daniel Craig, and she uses the Force mind trick on him, and she had no basis, or she didn't even know that was like a Jedi thing.
Yeah.
Like, Luke didn't even know that was a Jedi thing. That was something that Obi-Wan did, and he was like, what just happened? She had no reference.
Yeah.
How did she know that she could use that? How did she know that she could do that? You don't. And that's poor writing. That's poor execution. So, sorry, but that's how it is. On to the next.
She's just so powerful. She can pick up. She
wasn't
force
powerful.
downloaded. She force
She was
downloaded
lucky.
everything.
No, okay, that was an explanation afterward, and that was like retarded in itself. And I'm like, no, I reject your version of reality. So, yeah, sorry, it's just not happening. What happened after that? She caught up with Ray.
Yeah, she was just running around the base, and she caught up with everyone else.
Han, Chewie, and Finn.
Yeah, Finn.
Ray, Poe, Finn, whatever. It's just all, she caught up with them, and then they. What was the mission? The mission was just to blow up something on Starkiller.
Take down the shields. That's why Phasma. They captured Phasma.
Captured Phasma, right? Okay, so Captain Phasma. Useless character. I feel bad for the girl because they brought her in.
Well, yeah, in the trailers, I was like, "All right, this is the next Boba Fett. This is gonna be even better."
Yeah, it was the next Boba Fett. Had Boba Fett only been in Return of the Jedi, it's like, what are we gonna do with it? Throw it down the garbage chute. I'm like, what? Like, you got this?
Throw her in the chute.
So, I mean, her outfit was interesting. It was kind of cool and whatever. But and she was supposed to be this badass, but she wasn't. She was.
Yeah. So she was doing this walk. It was like so cool, and then she just tackles her.
Yeah, that was it. And then, she got tackled by Chewie. That was
submissive. Deactivates the shields and
she deactivates the shields for him. Doesn't put up a fight.
Nothing.
And then that was it for her. You leave her on Starkiller Base and she gets destroyed, but somehow she survived. And then she showed up in episode 8 and did the exact same thing. Absolutely nothing. What a waste. In episode 8, I would have had her not even there. I would have had her go off and
storming bases,
menacing. Just taking out all resistance bases and trying to deplete their numbers. And then she could have shown up in episode 9 and had some big to do with Finn and maybe the other defected stormtroopers. Maybe they all could have ambushed her or whatever, and then gave her a good send.
That's Finn's Force Ghost against
Force Ghost
Phasma.
Why would he have a Force Ghost?
Well, no, I'm saying that's his Force
Nobody's
Ghost.
good enough to kill him. He's not even good enough to kill himself. So,
that would be his backup. Basically.
So then after that, the shields are down. The X-wings can come in. They take care of Starkiller Base, and then they meet up with Leia. Leia walks right past Chewie. Don't even care about Han's death. She goes and hugs Rey, who just met Han, and was like, "I'm sorry to hear that you lost the guy that brought you here." Not really a big deal. Tears were shed. Poe and Finn hook up with each other again. Like, hey, buddy.
Hook up with each other?
No. They did not do that. Will not do that. Cannot do that. No, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. In this day and age, I didn't want to pull. I don't want to have a Freudian slip. And then anyway, they're those two heterosexual guys met up with each other again, and were cool to see each other and all that. And then you have Rey being sent to Luke.
Well, she wasn't sent. She just went, right?
I think Leia sent her. I think Leia sent her.
Did she?
I think Leia sent her. Because Leia can't walk. She's very stoic. She can't move very much. They had her on.
Or no. Maz was telling her that Skywalker's her destiny or whatever. Like you need to go to him. You need to find Luke or something. Somebody said something. I forgot what it was.
It's been too long. So
it was a couple days ago.
It's been too long. So anyway, so she goes and they go on the island. I can't remember if JJ shot this or if this was Ryan's footage and he supplied it for episode 7 with the whole standing on the island and Luke is looking all depressed and she's just kind of standing.
Hey, he looked like he was about to cry.
10 to 15 feet away from him, holding out the saber like. I don't know. It was just so weird. And then the helicopter shot, and then that was it. I was like, that shouldn't have been in the movie. Regardless, it should have just been her and Chewie flying off into the stars, and then we'll see Luke in the next one. Because it was so disappointing to see him and not have any dialogue.
They wanted to leave it on a cliffhanger.
It would have been a cliffhanger still if they, we're going to see
Lightspeed away.
See you later. Okay, they're
like episode 5,
just like episode 4 or 5 when Han was taken away, and Lando and Chewie had to go find him.
And then they were all on the ship.
And he was like, ha, ha, ha. No. That was the coolest part of episode 9 anyway, was Lando's laugh. So anyway, Hux was over
charismatic.
It's overdone in this one, but not as much as in episode 8 and 9. I think
Episode 8 and 9,
they
he
took a
treated
lot
like
of
to me
credibility away
I
from
don't know.
him.
I liked him. I liked him more in this film. It was more assertive and like to me it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But episode 8 and 9,
He seemed more competent in episode 7 than 8 and 9. But
episode 7, I thought, okay, this could be some good development for him. He's going to be like,
yeah, but they had to bring in
Almost like
that other
Tarkin by
guy to like,
oh yeah, and instantly
overcompensate. To like, I'm sorry, you're just not. We can't take you serious. We need. What was his name?
Ryan
Pride.
Reynolds
Yeah, we
screwed
need another
General
person
Pride
to give us a real threat. Anyway, so Snoke was a joke.
Not in this film, not overall.
In this film, I mean, I love Andy Serkis. He's really awesome. I love his voice. It was cool. I was like, great, somebody new. I disagree with JJ in that, like, how can you have Palpatine, the big bad, in the trilogy and the originals, and just he's not there? I'm like, because he died, and the story progresses. So, like, if they were to make an episode 10, which probably they won't, he won't be there.
Yeah.
10, 11, 12. There's no Palpatine, and if they continue, 13, 14, 15, there is no Palpatine, there's always somebody, and if the Force is always trying to balance, there's always going to be the dark side of the Force is always going to be hidden or be somewhere else in the universe, and it's going to allow for another character to come and embody that dark side.
Yeah.
So that was just a poor. Again, he had to pick up the pieces from Rian Johnson, but
I feel like there was an idea. It was going to be revealed as Plagueis because the Plagueis music was clearly playing.
Plagueis music. It would have been more interesting. Like, oh wow, this is the guy that taught Palpatine.
Well, yeah.
This is the one that Palpatine
it still connects everything.
Yeah,
even if it was Plagueis,
it still does because he's the one that taught Palpatine everything.
Yeah.
So he knows everything that Palpatine knows.
And he was a part of the plan for Skywalker.
Yeah, and he was a part of that, and it was just bad.
Yeah, it could have. I mean, it was going to go.
There's so much.
But I think Ryan
episode 7 was a fun movie. There was so much potential. It looked fantastic. The best thing about episode 7 was BB-8. I was thrilled with that droid. It was so imaginative, cool. So awesome. Seeing the trilogy overall, it makes me not like episode 7 as much. And that's my take.
I don't know. I feel like it could have gone completely different. I don't like the coincidences. I don't like how the three of them weren't together, Poe, Finn, and Rey. But like you said, Poe was supposed to die whenever they crashed.
Poe was supposed to die.
But I guess that's why he wasn't there. But I feel like they should have integrated him instead of having Rey fly because she's never.
It would have been better if Poe and Finn had landed, a couple hundred yards away from each other and found each other, and then they both went to the desert. I don't even know what the hell the city's called. I want to say Tatooine, Mos Eisley. Jakku's the name of the planet. What was the name of the little town? Nobody knows because it's not established, or at least it wasn't established in the movie. It could be established somewhere else in writings or whatever, but I don't care about
the flea market.
It was a flea market, so it would have been cool had they, had Poe been the pilot. And he can outmaneuver from the First Order again and get them back to the Resistance.
Yeah.
It would have made for better interactions, but instead they chose to say, hey, Rey is great at hand-to-hand combat. Rey is great, a great pilot. Rey is a great warrior. When it comes to the lightsaber, Rey is already.
It would have been cooler
understands
that way
the Force and how to use it, and she's learning, rapidly at a rapid pace without an instructor. Like Obi-Wan wasn't there for her, Yoda wasn't there for her, Luke wasn't there for her. Nobody's there to help her along.
Yeah, well, no one's there to progress her, but she's been
but she progresses herself naturally, and it's always fantastic. I could care less that you're related to. Emperor Palpatine.
It doesn't matter how strong the person is that you're related to.
If you don't have any training,
I mean, it does make you strong, but you need training. Yeah, like you said, you need to know how to do this stuff. You need to have an idea.
You need to understand, to learn, and to fail.
But she was
so that you can succeed.
She never failed,
and that's a big problem
throughout this whole trilogy. Never failed.
Yeah,
hasn't lost anything. No limb, nothing. Finn's had the most loss in this film because he got the saber up the back. On the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he got cut the most.
Yeah,
And he was force sensitive, and he didn't know what he was doing.
yeah.
His character is more believable than Ray.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, that's our review of episode 7. Thanks, Matt, for being here and helping me out with these reviews.
It's always a pleasure.
Our next review is going to be episode 6, and I think I have a pretty good feeling about this one. I think it's going to be a good movie.
Yeah, I think so too. Going backwards with the rest of the films, I think it's pretty Star Wars, Lucasfilm.
I think so. I think it captures what Star Wars really is, and I look forward to sharing my thoughts with you.